More than 100,000 troops on the borders of Ukraine. Although Russian President Vladimir Putin denies it, NATO intelligence says it is a force poised for invasion. Miriam Berger is a foreign affairs reporter with the Washington Post here. She's reported extensively on this to explain the issues and what we can expect in the days ahead. Miriam, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what do you think has happened about over the last 24 hours between Emmanuel Macron, the French president, meeting with both the president of Russia and the president of Ukraine? What's the biggest development in your eyes?
Shuttle diplomacy is continuing. There's still, war has not happened yet. There's momentum towards it, but there are lots of actors and countries who are trying to prevent it. And so, there's still a lot of uncertainty about what's going to happen next. Both Russia and Ukraine are starting tomorrow sort of military drills. And, that's sort of the next development. And it's still very in flux about what will happen.
And when we talk about it being in flux, in your article in the Washington Post, you guys kind of lay out some very serious concerns here. And one of the things you do well is explain why Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO. Russia sees NATO as a threat to its borders, and so they don't want that to happen. That's why they're amassing so many troops there, correct?
Yes, NATO was sort of constructed in the Cold War era as a way for Western countries to counteract Russia's growing presence. In the years since, it's changed somewhat, but it's been growing in Eastern Europe, and that really scares Russia, who sees it as an affront to its own security.
Do you see Vladimir Putin changing his stance at all? I mean, he's talked with Joe Biden, talked with Emmanuel Macron, talked with countless others. He doesn't seem to be moving or seem to be flexible, at least from the outside looking in.
He's a complicated person, and so I wouldn't say I can know what he's thinking here. But Russia has made the same demands for a while now, and those demands have not been met. It wants NATO to agree that it won't let Ukraine join, and it won't continue to expand in Eastern Europe, among some other changes. That has not, he's continued to have those same demands.
We have heard some Russian diplomats say this was only meant as an exercise to put all those 100,000 plus troops on the border with Ukraine, that they were going to pull back in February. Is that still likely, or does their posturing over there indicate they want an invasion, they want to go into Ukraine?
Russia sort of domestically has been sort of portraying the standoff as the West pushing Russia towards war. And Russia's just saying, we're just, moving along some troops, normal, everything's normal here. That's sort of the narrative being played there. So it definitely is sort of the other counteracted, not the same narrative that we're having here, where sort of the Russian amassing of troops has sort of been the impetus.
Meanwhile, in Ukraine, the people in the capital there are a lot of them getting ready to go at a moment's notice, and many of the civilians are learning how to fight as well. Explain the situation for the people living in Kiev.
So, since 2014, Ukraine has had an active war as well in the eastern part of Donbass that Russian forces occupied, and now there's sort of a separatist movement there. And so, that has been affecting Ukrainian daily life, but not to the same degree as this fear now that there could very well be either troops, moving into Kiev, or a concerted Russian effort to change the government in Ukraine to a more pro-friendly government. So, people are mobilizing. They're making emergency plans. They're trying to contribute as much as they can to the preparation for either war or, some sort of mass, a lot of people have to leave their houses, etc.
Do you think, last question, do you think the threat of sanctions from the U.S. and from Germany with the pipeline, could this be the game changer that could force Russia to acquiesce, or do you see it doing much?
Sanctions are very complicated in this case because sort of where people have their money is very opaque, and it's very hard to sanction Putin and those around him, though people are obviously looking into that and devising plans. The Nord Stream pipeline, that has been a big project of recent years, and threats to cut it off were Russia to invade Ukraine could have some implications, serious implications. But again, there's lots of moving parts and repercussions of going to war that Russia may just see as
a cost of doing business for this.
Exactly.
Marian Berger, foreign affairs reporter with the Washington Post. Read her article in the Washington Post. It gives you great perspective. Thank you for your outlook on this. It seems to change every 24 hours, so we might check back with you in a couple of days. Miriam, thank you.
Well, thank you. And I would just say my colleagues there as well are constantly
Yes.
following every update here.
Miriam, thank you.